Hello, welcome to another Wednesday Word. We decided to switch things up a little bit today, and for parents or for grandparents to give some thoughts and advice. We're not experts by any means, but trying to figure out how to parent well in this season and help our kids develop and grow in their faith. And so Lisa has some wonderful thoughts, and we kind of banter back and forth a little bit because this is a real thing for us. And so, yeah, we just decided, hey, here's kind of 5 things to think about in this season as you're parenting.
So number one, a few weeks ago, if you've been following our sermon series, we've been talking about different spiritual practices, and we talked about Sabbath, which it basically is a day of rest. And this is super, super crucial for, especially in this season that we've had, parents, if you have kids under your roof still. This has been a really saturated, filled, tiring year, hasn't it? So Sabbath maybe takes on a different meaning for if you're in that population. And so 3 things that really summarize what Sabbath should look like is fasting, feasting, and having fun. There's worship involved in all of that too with God, but it's really a day fasting from maybe the regular stuff that you do, from work, but literally also from things that like would drain you, like news feeds, maybe fasting from social media 1 day a week. But having a day set apart for that, feasting on quality time with each other, feasting on God's word, feasting on connection. We know one family in our church who has Sabbath on Saturday, and so they every Saturday find a fun restaurant to do takeout from, go pick it up, and they fast from being in the kitchen and slaving over meals, and they actually feast on like something. So, and also then fun. So one way we've incorporated with our kids on days that we have Sabbath is we get literally a whiteboard out. We write everyone's name, including mom and dad, and we ask the kids what would be something you would want to do today. We literally give them some power and an initiation in that.
Yeah, they love that.
And we even let them often be the writers of it. So we kind of have a family meeting, and we try to orient it around those things: fast, feast, and fun.
We also try to give each other a break.
Yeah.
Now, we recognize this is challenging if single parents or work schedules and with the virus, so we give each other breaks, a couple-hour break. And some of you may be watching saying, well, I don't have any kids. Great. You might actually be able to give someone else who has kids a break. Take them outside, put on a mask and say, hey, I'll take your kids for an hour on a walk outside. That could really bless someone in our church, or maybe if you have a sibling who has kids, or you're an aunt or an uncle. That's a really profound way to bless young families right now, who I think are everyone's struggling in their own way in this moment. But that's one of the way younger families are struggling. So,
for sure.
So Sabbath, what are some other things?
Well, also, just to mention, the 3-hour break doesn't have to necessarily be on that day. It's just within maybe a course of a 7-day week.
Yeah.
So between Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, somewhere in that window for us, I try to give Jeff a 3-hour break without kids, and he tries to give me a break without kids for 3 hours. And I know moms, you're thinking right now, like, I have to grocery shop, and I have to clean, and I have to do laundry. It's like, yes, you do. And maybe for a little bit.
Maybe dads.
And maybe for a little bit of that 3 hours, you can do something that needs to get done. But really that 3 hours, think of it as a feasting and fun, and something that restores you. Second thing is Connected Families has been a wonderful resource for us as personally, and it's become real during the pandemic as well. So why don't you just go around?
Yeah, we hosted several events with them at church, and they have a podcast that's excellent as well, faith-based kind of family parenting strategies. And their pyramid is a magnet we literally still have on the fridge.
Yeah.
And so right now, all of us are stir crazy. We're going nuts. This is our reality. And so there's a lot of times kind of personalities are going awry, and so often as a parent what you want to do is step in and right away kind of correct, which sometimes can work, but often you're kind of doing it through coercion and force, where you actually want to help the child gain skills, not just simply correct something. Mm-hmm. And so they have this pyramid, and they talk about, really simply, they have a podcast on it, but they talk about how first as a parent, this idea you want to get across, actually you're safe with me. So if that child does something wrong, knowing that you're not going to explode, because then they're going to react out of fear, not that they actually want to change that behavior. And then connecting with them, and then kind of the coaching moment. And this is, I think, the big moment for parenting of, well, how are you going to do that different next time? How are you going to, you're capable of this, you're smart, I know you are, buddy. how next time that happens, let's brainstorm some strategies. And then finally the corrective, like, okay, you're responsible for your actions, so how are you going to make this right?
Right.
And so oftentimes we'll just rush to you're responsible, make this right, but we actually want to step back and coach them so it doesn't happen as frequently in our homes or sibling conflict or things like that. And then connecting with them so they actually feel safe enough and that loved enough that actually when they kind of admit they have humility enough to admit, boy, I made a mistake, they'll let down their guard enough, and that isn't a fight or flight mechanism kind of in place.
Yeah, and the goal is really a heart change, right? It's not just to get you to behave.
Yep.
And Connected Families just talks constantly about how it's all of the discipline that you want your kid to actually like follow through and get comes out of a level of connection with them.
Similar to our relationship with God. God doesn't just want us to do the right thing. He actually wants to connect with us, know that we're safe and loved. And out of that safety and love, change our heart, not just our actions.
And they have that whole, they have classes, they have virtual classes that you can take on multiple things, and it's such a great resource. So if you are struggling right now, look into them, Connected Families. The next thing we just wanted to mention was just different opportunities for your kids or you to grow. I feel like my brain feels like mush half the time, and I'm like, I don't even know what to implement or what to do. And so I just wanted to show you 3 quick Bibles that are helpful that you literally can sit and read to your kids. Like make a routine. Maybe it's at bedtime. Maybe it's before breakfast. Maybe it's a snuggle time you have with them. Or, but many
just
of you
daily habit.
Yeah, daily habit. And if you don't have the words, the spiritual formational words that are like, you know, like you're like, that's what someone else can do. I don't have those words. These are great resources for you to read and get your kids to start wondering and curious and hungry for God. This is the Jesus Storybook Bible. This is another Storybook Bible. And this is one you probably haven't seen, but it's the Paraclete Bible for kids. So all 3 of those are great starting points. And your kid can be an infant to like 12, like anywhere in there. Like this is just good shoulder to shoulder time to read to them. If they're a little bit older, reads more like a graphic novel. But this is a Bible that they can start kind of reading on their own.
Tween boys. I think that's the
But this is kind of like what the inside looks like.
And we have plenty of other book recommendations and whatnot as well. I think what you're just doing is you're helping them create a pattern where like, hey, it's just normal to connect with God. There's a daily ritual or routine. It doesn't just happen at church. You know, faith can incorporate all aspects of life. Certainly we have things at church they can plug into and weekly things. But beyond that, actually, the best chance for helping our kids grow to know and love and understand God isn't actually just church program. It's actually you as a parent being equipped and leaning into that kind of call, which can be intimidating, but there's actually great resources out there.
And that we'll get to that because that's one of our last things we're going to mention is how to feel equipped and empowered as a parent. There's also a great app called Minnow. It doesn't cost a ton of money, but it's all video-based Bible stories, everything from Jelly Telly to things you've never heard of. So if you're looking for a safe app or shows to watch with your kids or have them watch, it's a great app, Minnow. And then there's just a few podcasts, which was one of them that... Yeah,
we're using my phone to record,
so you can't look
I can't look it up. There's a number of great faith-based parenting podcasts that, you know, I'll just kind of peruse and I'll listen to a little bit as I'm driving somewhere, maybe I'm exercising, just to kind of keep me fresh, give me another perspective.
Right. The Connected Families does have a podcast, so you could look them up. There's also one I listen to called Don't Mom Alone, and that might sound like, oh, that doesn't include my husband, but it's actually, she interviews amazing people, and she's just basically saying that in this Christian journey of trying to be a parent right now, like you needed to do it in fellowship and in community. What's that term that how your sorrows are...
Oh, Elgernon's quote, that your sorrows are divided in community and multiplied, your joys are multiplied.
Joys are multiplied. And it goes that way with parenting. And, do you have someone that you can call and be like, my kid slept through the night, finally, like I'm so excited, and someone can celebrate that with you? Or do you have someone you can call when like you're exhausted and done and you need an encouragement? It's both extremes and just also the everyday. So you're not designed to do this alone. The Don't Mom Alone podcast, and then we'll maybe list a few other ones.
Yeah. Fourth is kind of a fun one. It's never, your kids are never too young to begin to instill generosity in them.
Yeah.
And so we'll actually talk about pretty openly, like, oh yeah, mom and dad, we give to church, we support these missionaries, we have a compassion child. And so it just becomes normal and natural in their understanding of money. Actually, you give chunks of it away. And that's just what we do, and we love doing it. And who do we want to support? And so this is a really weird thing, niche thing, but one of our sons has been really getting into coin collecting and realizes, hey, I can maybe make a few dollars here or there with coin collecting. And so we'll go through coins together, and we'll be talking the whole time like, hey, once you sell this coin, what missionary do you think we should support with that, that 10% of that? Or what do you think we should do, a compassion child, you want to give to our compassion child this extra money? And just kind of normalize it, so you talk about it in your own family system, but also you're instilling that generosity into them. And it just literally, I think now sometimes, and none of us are perfect in this, but you'll have one of our kids be like, oh, well, first I want to give, this to this missionary, and then I'm going to, use it to buy a Switch game. And it's just kind of this normalization of generosity. You don't just wake up and you're generous overnight, or like once they're adult they'll be generous.
Yeah, you have to practice it and encourage coach your kids on how to scan for people who may need help, or thinking about money, and as adults this is a good paradigm too, but what are you saving, what are you spending, and what are you giving?
Yep.
So we just try to talk about that, like, hey, you can give but it's important to save, and it's important to spend too. Like all three of those things are needed, but it's a muscle that can be developed. Should we do the last one?
Yeah.
Okay, so the last one, you aren't expected to be this perfect parent, and as you're listening to this, if you've made it this far into the video, yay. But in a month from now, I am so excited about this. We are having an incredible opportunity for you. It's going to be an evening commitment on February 25th, 8 to 9:30. You'll be hearing more about it in the coming weeks, but it's 4 weeks from Thursday. And it's going to be a parent seminar led by Sarah Cowan Johnson. It's called First Steps, and it is all about equipping and empowering and giving hope to parents who are the primary disciplers of their kids. I miss having you drop your kids off to me on Sunday mornings and having volunteers and teachers pour in to your kids for the hour-ish once a week. I miss the fellowship and the loudness of them running around afterwards. But really, at the end of the day, like, God called you to be their parent.
And you see them a lot more than we do.
And you do. And so what's that appropriate level of transparency we can have with our kids as we mirror our faith walk of, like, needing God, crying out to Him, praising God. That kind of stuff it might seem like, I don't know how to do that, but this is a class for you, whether your kids are teenagers or infants, that I literally can't express to you. Like, every single second of it will be worth it and encouraging to you. It costs nothing for you to attend. It's literally going to be a virtual experience. So there's going to be some presentation, but also then some breakout rooms within Zoom where you can talk and get real. Every single parent will literally have in their hand a packet for each kid's, like, their hopes with their kids for their developmental growth. And it's going to be awesome, and it's called First Steps, and you'll be hearing more about it in the future. But we don't want to just say all this stuff to you, like, hey, listen to this podcast, hey, listen to this, and hey, take a 3-hour break every 7 days, and everything's going to be great. Like, we want to give you more tools to be able to do this well. So this is a great opportunity on February 25th, 8 to 9:30. If you're interested in it, message us, and we will get you the info.
Thanks.